everybody, happy Monday. It is super dark out, so I hope my lighting isn't too awful today. I hope everybody who celebrated Thanksgiving had a fantastic Thanksgiving. So today we're going to be working on another character design that is going to be an adoptable. Twitter voted on Aasimar, so that is going to be the race. I'm not really building this out with any specific class or a sub-race in mind. That way whoever ends up purchasing it can retrofit it to whatever they need it for whatever system they end up using it for. That being said, I do want this design to have some armor elements in the outfit that we're going to get into a little bit later. But right now I'm just kind of sketching out the design. We might get to throwing some color on this today and deciding a color palette, because that's always fun. But we're not going to end up finishing this today. We'll probably end up finishing it on the Wednesday stream. But yeah, I'm really enjoying making these adoptable designs, even though this is only the second one. That tiefling that we did before Thanksgiving sold very quickly, so I'm not really sure how to like properly gauge interest, I guess. So hopefully somebody ends up liking this one too, just as much. Twitter does this awful thing where, well, I guess it's not really awful, it's really for the safety of people, but it does this thing where I can have people who don't follow me on Twitter message me on Twitter, and it goes into the message request, but it doesn't notify you that you have a message request. So I missed. It would have sold much faster if Twitter let me know that somebody was trying to contact me about it. Be fantastic, but learn my lesson. So Aasimar is the race that Twitter voted on. The other options I am going to do eventually, even if there really isn't much interest, just because I have a couple of ideas in mind. I really want to design something based off of the Haringen race. I'm probably not pronouncing that right, but the rabbit folk from I think it's from Wild Beyond the Witchlight is what they came out in. Because I have a lot of ideas for that one. And then Dragonborn, and then a custom race, which I'm going to be making anyway, but more on that later. I want this character to have like wavy hair, but that was starting to look too like bumpy and not really wavy. Like, I want the hair to have some texture to it. I also wanted to incorporate a mask for this character, obviously, or hopefully obviously. Leaving it up to whoever ends up getting this design to decide why. But in my head, if I was keeping this character, I would be playing them more as like a either as a Scourge Aasimar or a Protector Aasimar who just happens to be blind, and wearing a mask is just easier. That covers their eyes. I haven't decided 100% on the design that I want to be on the mask, because I don't want it to be too plain. I want it to be interesting. But what I'm trying to avoid is, I think what's a really easy crux to kind of lean on for Aasimar characters is a lot of like religious imagery, and that's not really what I'm after for this. So I'm trying to avoid like a ton of wings like on everything, you know? I don't mind some imagery. Like I'm very tempted to have it be like engravings of like, you know how like biblical angels have like a fuck ton of eyes. Maybe something like that. I haven't 100% decided yet. But I really wanted to get the shape of it down and just kind of have that blocked out first, because I might end up incorporating some of the same imagery in the clothing. I do have some references that I'm kind of loosely basing things off of, like on Pinterest, that are not on the screen because, you know, copyright stuff and all that. And let's be real, it's on Pinterest, so half of it probably isn't properly credited anyway, so. But I definitely want their outfit to be very layered. And I want, so I think what I might actually do is on a separate layer, just so that I don't super screw everything up when I inevitably change my mind. I want there to be like the arm section kind of be, maybe not like that, but I'm just playing with shapes until I make something that I like, really. Is kind of how I do armor. Like, I figure out the parts of armor that need to be there, right? And then if I'm not referencing a direct design, like right now, I will kind of just put shapes down until I'm happy with them. Like, I'm not super thrilled with this. So maybe, like, I want it to have, I'm gonna use a very, I only use technical terms here, but I want it to have a very, like, swoopy sort of moment here. And maybe, like it curves like that. I kind of imagine it like, there's the lip of it here, and then it kind of swirls around and covers the muscle, and then swirls back in towards the elbow. Happy holidays! Hello, welcome in. Yes, it is holiday time. I took a proper break for Thanksgiving, which was phenomenal. How are you? How have you been? Alright, I don't like this. I don't like that. I think this needs to be a little bit more swoopy. Maybe. Let's try that. More curvy. More curves. You're here just in time to watch me struggle to design armor. Maybe something like that? Maybe... No, I don't like that. I don't hate that yet, so we're gonna keep that. Doing pretty well. Visited a family in Dallas for Thanksgiving and I got a new mic first night of Hanukkah. All happy here. Hell yeah! Happy Hanukkah! I forgot. That's a thing that's happening this week. It just feels like it's so early this year, but maybe it's just A, me not paying attention, and B, time is all sorts of fucked the past couple of years, so. Nope, I don't think that bottom piece is gonna be swoopy. I think this bottom piece is gonna be normal. Or it needs to be swoopy in a different direction. I think it needs to be swoopy in a different direction. That's exciting. I'm glad you got to see family. That's awesome. I did not travel for Thanksgiving because I'm going to be traveling for Christmas. All of my side of the family is in New York, which is like a approximately 11 to 12 hour drive from where we are currently, which is just not doable for both Thanksgiving and Christmas. We decided Christmas is we have more Christmas traditions than we do Thanksgiving traditions, so that's the one I opted to take time off for. Okay, I think I'm okay with that for now. I'm okay with it until I'm not. Actually, you know, I wonder if... Let's try something super fancy here. Also, my eyes twitchy because my allergies are acting up, because of course they are. Because I cleaned my house, so, you know. That means my allergies are back. I got so much done over Thanksgiving break. Oh my goodness. It's great. I'm almost caught up on laundry, which is phenomenal. Okay, I'm liking this shape better. I'm liking this shape a lot better. I think we'll keep that. Yeah, I don't think I drew anything at all the whole, like, from Wednesday to, well, I drew a little bit yesterday because I did the general pose sketch for this so that I wouldn't have to rush to do it today. But other than that, I took like a legitimate break. It was nice. Now this is me trying to figure out how any of this armor would actually connect in that way. It's okay, we'll figure it out. That is the one thing that I try to keep fairly consistent in anything that I design, is like, for the most part, I try to keep it not realistic but believable, you know? Like, I never studied fashion or like historical fashion or anything like that. And honestly, I think it's more fun sometimes to kind of suspend belief a little bit for practicality. Like, sometimes aesthetics wins over practicality, but it still needs to make sense to me, if that makes sense. I don't know much about art, so sorry for asking this, but is this a really early part of creating characters? Yes, and no sorries, it's okay. So this is kind of the side of things that I don't, like when I do my commissions, I usually do off stream. But this is kind of like the rough sketch phase. So pretty much whenever and this is a little bit different than my commissions too, because when I do my commissions, I'm drawing a character whose design already exists typically. So it's me recreating and piecing together references that have been sent to me into the character, but in my style or my technique. This is a little bit different, where I'm literally just making it up as I go, and doing a lot of erasing and a lot of adjusting, and there's a really good chance that once like I have all the armor set up, I'm not going to like it, and then I'm just gonna erase it and do something different. So this is kind of a little bit more extensive and maybe behind the scenes way of doing things for me, because this is kind of the part that I do off screen typically. But what would happen after this, the steps going forward, is once I get the sketch the way that I like it, I will go over it and do line art, really a refined sketch, so that the lines are clean and make sense, and then I will throw flat colors on it, and then I will lightly render it. I try not to go too crazy, or have been trying not to go too crazy on the rendering for these, because they are just going to be like a flat fee for somebody to pay to be able to use the design and call it theirs, versus a like client work where they're paying for something customized, they're paying for something a little bit more special, and they're paying usually a little bit more than what I would potentially charge depending on the design. So I try to make it really special for them. Not to say that I don't put the same amount of effort into these designs, but I'm also kind of making them with the knowledge in mind that whoever ends up purchasing them might change stuff about it, and they are well within their rights to once they buy the design. So I try not to put too much into it, Also, there's a good chance that a design might not sell. So I also kind of have to keep that in mind too. Let's see. That makes sense. I think I need to adjust some of that because of the angle that it's at. Just ever so slightly. It's weird because it is at an angle. I might end up changing some of that at some point. It might end up looking a little wonky. We'll fix it. There we go. But yeah, this right now is literally just me farting around until I like parts of this design and I'm ready to move on to the next part of the design. I hope that makes sense. This is still a very new thing that I'm doing too. Like this is only the second adoptable design that I am making out of many that I have ideas for. Some might end up not even being made. But yeah, if my process had like step 1, step 2, step 3, etc., this is like step 2 of like the sketch, the rough sketch. All right, now the breastplate. I think I want it ought to also be a little bit swoopy, just a little bit. Like I'm also, I don't want it to look too elven by default, just because of all the swoopies. But I mean, I guess there comes a point where, if that's what people see it as, that's what people see it as. Because that's a very distinct sort of aesthetic. Let's see, do I want it to be Just kind of playing with shapes again here until I figure out if I like it or not. This might look dumb. I think I get it. You do things a bit differently when someone gives you material and says build something compared to just deciding to build it on your own volition. Both are perfectly acceptable, of course. Exactly. And like a lot of what goes into this is kind of how I also would design like my own like D&D character of like the part that you don't see is the hours of scouring Pinterest for, you know, ideas and things that I might want to incorporate or take bits and pieces from and make it my own and incorporate it into the design. Versus, yeah, if somebody, you know, for a client, I prefer, and at this point, really require my clients to have visual references, mostly because if there aren't visual references, then that means that I am going through more more editing, potentially more like more iterations of a sketch to get things the way that the client is envisioning it, typically is what I found. And at that point, it gets to a point where I can only do that so many times before I do consider it designing a character, which usually involves a little bit more steps, and the editing process is a little bit lengthier, and it takes a lot of time. And a lot of the price point that I build out and have decided upon for my commissions is based off of, you know, my time and my skill level and demand at this point. Something about that is not... Something about this is not looking right. I can't figure out what it is. Lighten that a smidge. I can't figure out what it is right now, but I'm sure as soon as I add more things to this, it will become obvious. That's not the layer that I wanted to lighten. I wanted that one. There we go. I was like, where did the rest of my sketch go? Well, you lowered the opacity, so it went away. But yeah, typically the more references that a client can give me, the faster I can get their stuff done. Because I have like a visual like point of comparison for certain things. Versus where it's like, oh, I kind of want their armor to sort of have, you know, elements of this and this and this and this, and you put it together. That might go through 2 rounds of editing because they wanted something slightly different, versus if they're like, this is the exact armor that I want, then it's like, cool, I know exactly what to draw. And I like both, but I've had to be a lot more realistic about respecting my own time. So that's why in the past I've been like, yeah, I can work off of just written description. Nowadays I prefer not to, for that reason. Okay, I'm trying to put the straps in approximately the same spot. So that would go here. And then this would go here. And then I kind of imagine them having like a, what's it called? Is it a gambeson? Is that how that's pronounced? well, they have one of those and then a like another lighter weight shirt underneath. That's kind of what these sleeves would be from. Is that lighter weight shirt. I really wanted this outfit to have more layers to it than I typically would by default. Because part of doing these designs, maybe a little bit selfishly on my behalf, is I wanted to use it as an excuse to kind of push what I typically do and like try to keep things interesting and make interesting designs, because I do think I am one of those people that kind of falls into the trap of I have design elements that I kind of gravitate towards automatically, and that doesn't always make an interesting character, especially if too many of my characters have the same like elements to them. So this is kind of a little bit of a creative exercise for myself too. Alright, I'm not exactly copying and pasting this part of it because it's a little bit more simpler of a shape. Little bit more simpler. I can words good. More teeth. Pops, no. I mean, maybe as like accessories. I don't know. Also, hi, welcome in. I hope you're having a good day today. With an appropriate amount of teeth. Whatever that means to you. No, I totally get it. You use Selfworks to experiment with. And yeah, I'm familiar with making characters that feel too similar. Yeah, it's a mood. It is definitely a mood. Always add more teeth. You know, I'm not going to argue with that because those are pretty good words to live by. The tooth will set you free. Pops, I can't. That was a very good pun. Goodness gracious. Alright. Now they are wearing armor, but I don't know that I want... I don't know... Like, it's not going to be full plate because that's a little much. But I don't know, as far as lower armor is concerned, how much I want to add. Maybe like... maybe like a leather bit here-ish. And then it can go into like a tabard sort of situation. And then the gambeson underneath it. Or maybe the tabard is too much. That might be too many layers. Who dis? Review? No, this is a, this is, so a couple days ago, maybe it was a week ago, I don't know, time's weird. A while ago, I put a poll up on Twitter to decide which race I should do next for my, next batch of adoptables that I'm doing, and Aasimar won. So I'm just throwing together an Aasimar design with no specific class in mind, but I did really want to incorporate armor into this design. So yeah. For all of the designs that I'm going to be doing, I wanted it to be generic enough that folks could easily have them be whichever sort of class that they are interested in playing the character as, in whatever system that they want to play the character in. That being said, these first couple of adopts are pretty specifically for D&D, in the sense that this is in Aasimar. And I kind of have the idea of, because I didn't specifically pick a sub race either, but I wanted to incorporate this sort of like mask over their eyes, so they could either be a Scourge Aasimar, um, which I am pretty sure in the player's handbooks like literally says that they like masks can be part of their whole steez, because of trying to control the radiant energy that is constantly threatening to consume them and everything around them, or whatever. Um, but it could also just be either a protector or a fallen Aasimar, and they just are blind, and then they're wearing this eye mask because you don't have to answer questions if nobody can see your eyes, and it makes you look more mysterious. I don't know. I think it's a really cool element to play with. I know you're saying ASMR, but all I heard was Scourge ASMR, which also made me think, I don't know what Scourge ASMR would be. Probably not pleasant, if I had to guess. Alright, how long is this? Is it Gambison or Jambison? I don't know. The under part, I don't know how long I want that to be. Don't kink shame. I'm not kink shaming. I probably wouldn't find it pleasant. Let's see. Okay. Maybe... Maybe we do... I'm gonna do another layer just in case, because I am probably just gonna play with some shapes here. I might not even do lines first. I might literally do shapes. Are they like getting screamed at in Celestial? Honestly, the mask makes me think of Kanan for Star Wars Rebels. At some point he went blind and wore something like that. Let him hone his other senses the Force better. Yeah, something like that. Like, I wanted to add at least one aspect to every design that doesn't have a doesn't have a set explanation, if that makes sense, so that, you know, whoever ends up purchasing and using these designs can make up whatever they want about the why and the how. I don't hate that shape. Like pointier. I feel like that kind of works. I don't know if that's the most interesting thing we could be doing here, but I'm not mad at it. And then maybe we do like more of these kind of swoopies as like the thigh part. I don't know names of armor. Someday maybe I will learn what shit's called, but until then, the thigh part, the part that protects the meat of the thighs. Yeah, I don't hate that. And then we could do... No, I guess I should probably actually pretend to know what the fuck that shape is going to be. I think it'd be very simplified down at the shin guards. That's probably not what they're called. That's like a sports thing, but that's basically what they are. And they're not going to have any armor on their boots. Yeah, you know, I kind of like this. I think we're going to stick with this. I'm going to throw that underneath, though. I also thought it was really dumb. That's the best way I can describe it. Really dumb that in the player's handbook, Scourge Aasimars are the only ones that don't have wings. So this Aasimar is gonna have wings, regardless of whatever subrace anybody picks for them. Because wings are fucking rad. And I enjoy tormenting myself because I'm gonna have to draw the wings. I feel like maybe here that swoop is a little bit more obvious. Maybe it's like that, where it's an echo of a wing shape, but not specifically a wing shape. But it kind of has a similar layering to it. And I think for the bottom part, it'll just be those two layers. Kind of like that, maybe. When in doubt, add wings. It makes anything better, and I mean anything. Oh, trust me. I'm trying... Spoiler alert. I'm trying not to incorporate too many wings into the... what I'm going to call the base designs. Because the custom race that I'm going to be doing 3 total adoptables for, their whole thing is wings. So I don't want to overdo it. And I also don't want it to be like, oh, every single fucking character I ever make ever has wings. Like, who doesn't want a fly speed? Like, the Harengen design is not going to have wings. And the Dragonborn design is not going to have wings. Oh, Half-Orc, that was the other one. The Half-Orc design is also not going to have wings. Let's see, I think actually... No, that's probably fine. Yeah, that looks okay. That looks good to me. You know what? This tabard is going to be a little worse for wear. Just a little bit weathered. Kind of make it a little bit more believable and like lived in feeling. It's also not going to be even because I said so. I might change that a little bit. We'll see how this one turns out. Still haven't quite decided what design I want to be on their mask, but you know, the more I think about it, and I know I said that it's overdone, and I didn't want to put like a ton of religious symbology in this, but the more I think about it, the more I kind of want to put a bunch of eyes on the mask. I know it's not teeth pops, I'm sorry, but eyes are cool too. Figure out approximately how this works at a different perspective, because I enjoy making my life difficult. It's what I do best. Because you wouldn't see all of it at this angle. But I do need to figure out how much of it you would see. Maybe see some of that in the back. Just some of it, though. And then, do I want... Let's see. No, I think it does make more sense for... it to be overlapping. That does make more sense. Perspective is weird and tricky. And also why I've tried to keep most of the poses for these adoptables fairly simple comparatively. Let's see. I'm checking it against my other screen. Okay. I feel like that makes sense. You know what we're gonna do, however? We're going to... We're gonna save this. Very specific file names. I'll know what I mean. There we go. Alright, and then that bottom layer of clothing would go here. You'll be able to see some of the folds, but not too many of them. That just looks like stripes. Aasimar? Hi, Ro! How are you? No, today is not ASMR. I don't think I would be very good at ASMR. Sink, hello! How are you? Welcome in. I need to hydrate because I can feel my voice cracking already. How is everybody doing today? Hail, hydrate, exactly. Hydrate or dihydrate. I'm gonna give this character gloves because gloves are cool. Got out of work a little late, but it doesn't affect my commute. Well, that's good. I hope work was not stressful for you. I hope you had a good day at work today. Does it make sense that these gloves will be tucked in like that? No. Do I care? Also no. Only slightly. No, you know what? That looks stupid. I hope, like, watching this process is interesting because honestly, this is a lot of what kind of just goes on in my head when I'm designing things is, does this look good? I don't know, let's try it. Nope. Change my mind. I feel like it needs to be smaller. Something about it is not, I'm not vibing with. Okay, I think I like that a little bit better, and that makes more sense. I keep switching back to the ink brush. No, that's not the one we're using today. I'm using the sketchy brush. I feel like I'm gonna have to adjust the size of that as well. And I think that actually needs to go... Well, no, he's kind of like that. So it wouldn't quite line up exactly, but I do think it needs to go up just a smidge. I think it's down a little too far. I find it very interesting seeing how ideas and details evolve. I'm glad. I'm glad it's interesting because I would feel a little bit bad if it wasn't. That's kind of the point of being on Twitch. It's to be at least somewhat interesting. Let's see. Well, damn, now I feel like the other hand's too fucking small. Alright. That's easy to fix. I can't make up my mind. I went to zoom out and then I wasn't actually sure if it was going to fuck me over. Okay, that looks a little bit better. Oh boy, are we going by character names in chat now? Hey, whatever works. Alright, so this part would have... This part is leather. I think I want to add... I think I do want to add some boogles. Because why not? That's not the way the buckles go. Typically. Buckles go the other direction. Well, I guess it could. The buckles I'm looking at don't, so. That's what I'm gonna base it off of. Oh no, I had it right. I just had the other side the wrong way. Yeah, because it would have the closure on that side. Like that. Yeah, ever since I realized that I almost consistently draw the buckles on belts wrong, I have been a little paranoid about drawing buckles. It's one of those things where, like, you know, you think you know what it looks like, and then you go to draw it, and you're like, yeah, that looks right, and then you go to look at a picture of it, and you're like, oh, fuck, actually, it's the exact opposite. Whoops. Memory be funny like that sometimes. But yeah, I think having the buckles there makes sense, and then you wouldn't see it on the other side. And then I want just some detailing. Kind of like that. You can call me I don't care. No, that's valid. Make them however you want. Don't buckle to the conformity. Pops, please. I can only handle so many good puns in one stream. Okay, I will not refer to you as that then, Aaron. This is my favorite one on this. Okay. Now we're gonna finish the fabric-y bits. Another very technical term, the fabric-y bits. Oh, I was like, why is it not erasing? Because it's not the eraser tool, you ding-dong. It's been a Monday, y'all. I also don't want to make the armor terribly fancily decorated. Because again, something like armor detailing can really do a lot of storytelling for a character. And I kind of want it to be a little bit more of a blank slate, or something that whoever ends up buying this character can kind of play around with after the fact. Like, I wouldn't want to put like a very specific crest on a design for like a pre-existing IP. That could be one thing if I made up my own, and then somebody could maybe add that into their world or their story building or their game or whatever if they chose to. But I'm trying to avoid like specific things that would tie this character to a setting, if that makes any sense. Lame, my joke about how Aaron is literally traditionally spelled. I hate drawing boots, which is why I've been desperately trying to avoid drawing boots. But the time has come and I must continue to draw the rest of the legs. I don't know why. Like, I know how to draw shoes, but they don't always come out looking good, and I'm like, what? But I did the shapes that they are. Why don't you look like a shoe? Art just be like that sometimes. And then sometimes I'll throw down like the perfect shapes and I'm like, ah, fuck, that's a good looking shoe right there. And then I have to line art things and it never comes out exactly the way that it looks, and I'm just like, ah, grumble, grumble. I think I don't want I don't want anything super fancy for their trousers. They're just going to kind of be regular pants. And you won't see a lot of the trousers tucking out from there because it is kind of straight on. Versus this one, you will see some of the side. Alright, I do have to make sure that at the very least they are approximately the same length. That is kind of the tricky part of something like this, where it doesn't have to be perfectly symmetrical, but it does need to be believably symmetrical. And like, some of the parts of this design are being drawn straight on, and some of them are being drawn from an angle. That's always the fun part of trying to get it to look correct. Key and Peele sketches. Why exactly? But that's just pirating others' jokes. Nothing witty about it. Exactly. Let's see. Oh, hello! Welcome in, everybody! Oh my goodness, hello! Matthew Perkins DM, thank you so much for the raid. Wow, hi! I don't know that I've ever been raided before. This is fun. Welcome on in. I hope y'all had a great stream. Thank you so much, everybody, for following. Oh boy. Platypologist? Fucked that up. Lubafin, Matthew Perkins DM, thank you so much for the follow. Hello, hello. Let me introduce myself. My name is Shay. I am a fantasy illustrator by night. Right now I'm working on a character design adoptable that's going to be available for purchase at some point, if not this week, definitely next week. I am a critter. I play a shit ton of D&D and other tabletop roleplay games, and I am so happy that you all are here and joining me. How was your stream? What did you guys do? What were you streaming? I'm nervous now. Thank you, thank you. I'm glad. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Kind of just throwing things together with somewhat of an idea in mind and just kind of seeing how it's going to be evolving. I do a CR recap show on YouTube. Oh, hell yeah, nice! We're streaming Dark Souls. That is a game that I could never play because I am a baby. I've heard it's a lot of fun though. I hope you had a good stream. Thank you again very much for the raid. It's very appreciated. No obligation to stick around. If you do, I do super appreciate it though. We're still pretty early into the stream, so I'll be here for a bit. I usually do my streams are usually client work, but my commissions are closed currently, and will be through the new year. But I still wanted to, like, you know, not get rusty. So character adopts. This one is an Aasimar, because that is the race that Twitter decided we were going to be designing next. But I do have a couple lined up to do for a Dragonborn, a Harengon, and a couple of designs for a custom race that I came up with to kind of go along with the public release of that. That's not going to be happening for a couple of weeks, though, I don't think. Because I'm a perfectionist and I want everything to be done at the same time. And correctly and nicely. I can barely play it. That's fair. I don't typically stream video games, but if I did, I would not be good at them, or they would just be cozy games like Stardew or Animal Crossing. Seems like some nice vibes here. Hell yeah. That's what I strive for. Very chill atmosphere, just kind of hanging. I love hearing about people's characters and games that you're in. If you're in any current campaigns, please feel free to talk about them. If you have any characters you want to chat about, please feel free to. I love hearing all of that good lore. Shay has amazing cozy vibes. You're correct. Thank you. I'm very cozy in my new sweater that is entirely too large, but very cozy. But yeah, we like chill vibes here. I get anxious very easily, so chill vibes are best. Did you get very far in Dark Souls? I've seen playthroughs of Dark Souls and I'm just like, nope. No thank you.
I'm gonna add some detailing to the strappy bits here. Just a little bit. This is technically considered a rough sketch, so we don't have to go too crazy with details, but I like having more to work with when I get to the refined sketch stage. And also sometimes I just kind of go on autopilot and end up doing way too many details. No, I was playing really badly. I did the first boss and then packed it in. That's a fucking mood. Do any of your illustrations make their way into DM's Guild products or any books? Actually, yes. I was commissioned, I forget if it was early this year or late last year, to do a cover for a golem artificer class that somebody threw up on DM's Guild. I don't have the link otherwise, like, readily available, otherwise I would throw it in chat. I don't know if it was ever posted on Twitter, but I did the cover for that PDF, and that was a ton of fun. And I'm hoping to, if I have all of my shit together correctly, I'm hoping to put the custom race that me and a friend of mine designed together on some platform. I don't think we've decided if it's going to be like purchasable or if we just want it to be a free thing, because it's not like, I mean, it's the first homebrew stuff that I've ever done. I think they've come up with a ton of things. We haven't really decided on it yet, though. Yes, I'm still jealous of that sweater. It's from Torrid, and I got it on sale, and I love it. And I, as a larger person, I don't typically find a lot of, like, oversized stuff. And I don't know if it was intended, like, I don't know if the style is intended to be oversized or if I just fucked up and I bought too big of a size, but it's a vibe and I love it and it's very cozy. I enjoy watching Matt play Dark Souls, but yeah, not a game I will ever play. Yeah, I'm a huge pansy, so I don't go out of my way to play games that would terrify me or make me, like, I don't know, real life is challenging enough. There's only so much of a challenge that I want in my video games that I'm playing to relax. I wish I knew how the fuck to write content for D&D. I want to write a whole revisionist thing about soon. I mean, for the race, it was kind of simple. I say, as someone who's only ever made one thing, like, I very, very much took a lot of, like, the basic structure of it, of, like, typically the features and traits that you would see within a race, and kind of just tailored it to what I had in mind. And then I picked bits and pieces of things that kind of already existed and tweaked them. And then I was able to have sort of a good enough base that then I could really branch out and be like, okay, now I can fuck around with some sub races and have this make sense. I hope that makes sense. And Ro, if you're curious, that's what I'm talking about, the thing that I posted in the Nexus that Lion and I worked on together. If you want to take a quick look at that, because you guys got a sneak peek at it. Okay. I think, now I think what I want to do is I want to work on this mask, because I'm probably going to add some suggestions of a pattern across the armor, but I did want to keep it fairly minimal. But for the mask, I did want that to stand out, and I wanted that to be a little bit more of a specific design. And the more I talk about the multiple eyes thing, the more I kind of dig it, so I think that's what we're gonna go with. I know it's maybe a little bit overused, but it's gonna look rad as hell and kind of creepy, and I'm here for it.
Oh boy, I missed a bunch. I'm sorry. A tip I found is making bullet points and then just build from there. Yeah, that's kind of what I ended up doing. I was like, I had this idea of what I want to see in a character that I would play, and then I was like, okay, how do I make that a legitimate like thing with like not stats, but you know, with attributes that work for 5e and make sense and aren't just a a, a boring reskin of a race that already exists, and something that I could build off of lore wise. And I kind of just went from there. Do you sell license your illustrations as stock art anywhere? I don't. This is kind of my first jaunt into like selling designs. A lot of the art that I've been doing before that has been exclusively like client work of pre-existing characters that they play in their games. And I actually recently, not for a character illustration, but for one of my art prints on Etsy for a painting that I did back in like 2018. I was actually recently approached for licensing the design to be on a product for this small business's subscription box, for an item in their subscription box. So that was a fun thing that I had to really quickly dig into my graphic illustrator handbook to figure out specifics and legalities for, so that it looked like I knew what I was doing. But it's something that I would definitely be interested in doing at some point. You know, as my audience and client work grows, I'm kind of down for whatever. Sorry for the absence, had to light candles with family. Yeah, no, totally, you're super fine. No worries. I got a D&D book as a Hanukkah gift. Hell yeah, which one? Yes, I figured that's what you're talking about. The armor and visor give me Angemon Angelwoman vibes? I don't know what that is. What is that? I feel like I should know this, but I don't. Let's see. I need to look at my other monitor to make sure that it's not... I don't need it to be... Oh, Digimon. I should have guessed that. I wasn't really a Digimon kid. It's funny because I remember very vividly watching Digimon every once in a while as a kid, but clearly I wasn't paying attention to it because I retained literally none of it, except the memory of it being on TV and me being there at the same time that it was on TV. It's worth it. I buy stock art on RPG for my PDFs all the time, and there's a bunch of illustrators killing it on the regular stock sites like Shutterstock too. I will have to take a look at that because I wouldn't mind doing something like that. That's kind of like nice passive income, and then I kind of... It's funny because I always wanted to do like... I feel like I just have so many ideas for characters. Not necessarily designs specifically, but just like characters that I will never get to play in games. And like I've always wanted to put together like a character book or like an NPC PDF for like for sale or something, so folks could make use of it, of like these characters that I will never play and don't have an outlet for otherwise. But I never thought to do like what would be considered stock art for that that genre. So I will definitely look into that. Thank you. Xanathar's Guide to Everything. Hell yeah. I've pulled a lot from it as a PDF. Glad to actually own it now. That's one of the ones that I don't have physically, but I pull from all the time too. Also, I'm so sorry if lots of eyes creep you out. Apologize in advance for all of this. Just all of it. I'm so sorry. They're from Digimon. Don't worry about it. Xanathars is a good one to have. Still need to find my copy. It is somewhere. I feel like... Pops, I feel like you have every book. But you're also in a shit ton of games, so like... It makes sense for you to have every book.
Okay, I want this to be thinner. I think that is too large of a brush. And again, this part is really just, I will find out if I like it or not after it is done. I kind of like the idea of it being sort of sectioned like this. Some of the swooshies, and I think that line is still just a little bit too harsh. Maybe something like this. I am envisioning this as like something that's maybe engraved into the mask and not, or like painted on or something. So that's why I don't want it to be as stark of a color. I don't have every book yet. Yet being the operative word there. Oh, I can go ahead and delete that now. Let's see. I'm digging how this is turning out. Now I did have some, because of course I have a Pinterest board, I did have some patterns saved down. I don't know if there's any place where I can throw them. Oh, you know, maybe I could throw them on the... Yeah, let's try that. I'm not going to go too wild with the patterns because that's going to be something that I'm going to throw in with color when we get to that point. But I kind of just want to do... like a suggestion of a pattern for now, just to kind of see if it would be too busy or not. Kind of something like that. And then we'll go like that. And there'd be another one up here, and most of it would actually be covered, but... Alright, I'm off to find a post-stream burrito. Enjoy your stream. Please feel free to message me if you decide to pursue the stalker. Absolutely! Thank you so very much. I super appreciate it, and thank you for stopping by. I hope you find a delicious burrito, because that sounds fantastic. And thank you again so much for the raid and for the follow. I should set up more Nightbot commands. I'm good at Twitch. I already forgot what I was doing. Okay. Oh, okay. That would be a middle design like that. And again, this is just kind of the suggestion of the design. I kind of just want to see if a pattern would look weird there. No, I think I like it. I think that fills in... I think that fills in really nicely. And I think if I make it a delicate enough color balance, it should be fine. With that being said, I don't think I will put too much more detail on the tabard. like a suggestion of a design along the edge to kind of mirror what's going on in the armor. But again, leaving plenty of space to kind of customize a little bit more. I feel like it's generic enough. Let's save that. Okay, I'm liking how this is turning out. Now the other thing I do have to do, and we're gonna need to guesstimate with the canvas size here, because they are going to have wings. So let's just pick a number. Pick a number, any number. Just because I want to give myself some extra space. I don't think the wings are going to take up the entirety of the canvas. I don't think I'm going to have them outstretched, but I did want a little bit of extra room to work with because they are going to have wings. Because even if they end up being a Scourge Aasimar, I think all Aasimars should have wings. And Scourge is the only one that doesn't, and I think that's stupid. So I have opted to ignore that rule. I guess the only thing is they wouldn't be able to be, if I add like feathered wings, they wouldn't technically, by the book, be able to be a fallen Aasimar. But let's see. I do want them to have, because we're fucking extra in this house, I do want them to have triple wings, or at least double wings. We'll see how that ends up working out, though. Actually, I think I want... It's just gonna be easier if I erase. I think I want the first set to be a little bit more outstretched. Just a little bit. So I'm not going to go too crazy into like the individual feathers just yet, because some of it is going to be overlapped by the second set of wings. I think I want the second set to be, what I'm actually going to do is throw it on another layer. Tucked in a little bit more. Kind of like that. And then I want a little bit more of an angle. Kind of like that. We'll see if I end up liking that. I might not. Maybe this needs to be... like that. I feel like it needs to be a little bit more obvious that they are secondary wings. Kind of like that. think I like that. Let me just double check my playlist and make sure that it is still... Yes, okay. Sometimes Spotify will just autoplay things and then not tell me, and suddenly it's like not royalty-free music anymore, and I'm like, ah, shit. Here we go. I think just for the sake of this sketch, I'm going to make this outline just a little bit darker so that it's a little bit more obvious. But in the final render, it's not going to be quite that harsh. And like, I'm kind of a big fan of feathered wings that maybe don't make sense, like that are not necessarily directly referenced from bird wings. I don't like that though. I still want them to have an interesting enough shape though. I'll play around with the layering when we get to the rendering. Maybe something like that. Okay, I like that. I do think I want the secondary wing to kind of be overlapping their leg. Oh, that's a little too messy. But that is the shape that I want. Kind of like that. Yes, I'm gonna go with yes. I'm liking that so far. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna merge. That's the wrong thing. I'm gonna copy paste to make my life easier. We are going to do a little bit of adjusting though, because they aren't going to be exactly the same. But almost the same. Like so. Like that. And then just to make it a little bit more obvious, I'm gonna add slightly thicker lines to the outline of this, because again, this is just a sketch, so the line weight doesn't super matter. I am going to be going over it when I do the refined sketch. But I'm kind of digging this. This wing won't be in front of this leg though, nor will it overlap this hand like that. I try to erase a lot of my underlines because otherwise I get super confused when I go to do my regular lines. And you know, I think I don't want that to be right there. That creates like a weird sort of tangent. right there is fine. Like that. And then we can go ahead and erase this part so that we don't forget that it is indeed being covered. Like that. And there you go. Wings! And now I'm going to trim down the canvas a smidge. Is that what it's going to do? Yeah, okay. And then I think I actually want that. Again, it looks a little bit better. Like that. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Now here's another question. Do we want a halo or no halo? While I decide on some colors to throw on this character. Thinking some kind of muted copper tones. Okay, now I know it's switched off of the correct, because that's a legitimate song. We're gonna switch to hi-fi. There we go. I think I want their hair to be a little bit more blue leaning. No. We'll see how I end up liking that. I might hate that color, but we'll find out. I'm gonna start with the color that I have a feeling I'm going to like first. I'm gonna scoot that. I think that's still too warm. Yeah, warm. Yeah, that's a little bit more cool toned, so we're gonna go with that. So for this part, I am setting the lines to multiply, and we're not like, this isn't my flat color stage, because this is still very much a rough sketch. I'm just trying to figure out what colors I like best for when I actually do go in and do, you know, the actual flat colors after my lines are good to go. So a lot of this stage is kind of just trial and error. I have a couple of color palettes pulled up for things that I think might look nice together. but it's one of those things where I won't know until I put them all down. So there's usually a lot of erasing and correcting in this stage. Okay, skin tone. I was thinking maybe this color, and then I'll bump these down a darker for the armor. I hope that's not... I'm wondering if that's maybe too yellow. Bump it a little bit closer to orange. Okay, I like that. One of the things that I do like about some of the descriptions of, I guess we can call it base game Aasimar, is that their hair is like almost metallic. It's so like lustrous. I've always liked that part, and that's kind of what I'm gonna try to keep here too. A little bit. Nope, I hate that color. Something more like that. Okay. So what I'm thinking for the armor is when I actually go in to shade it, I'm going to be adding like little pops of like almost like a patina like green in some sections. Very, very subtly. It's not going to be like a splotch of green or anything like that. But that's why I kind of want to go with a more kind of brassy bronze sort of base color. And that might change entirely once I see it all together. Which is actually why I'm going to be doing the top armor, like the actual armor itself, on this layer. And then I'm going to be making a separate layer for all of the bits and pieces underneath the armor. Because I feel like the armor is probably going to be what I'm going to be playing with the color of the most. Let's see how I end up actually liking this. We'll find out. Oh man, I just remembered that this Thursday my my Thursday group is actually going to be wrapping up a pretty big boss battle, and I don't know that I'm ready for it. We're actually getting what feels like we're getting really close to like legitimate end game for this 3-year-long campaign. And I don't know how to feel about that. Like, I'm excited, don't get me wrong. But it's also kind of like bittersweet, you know? And also terrifying because there's very real chance that Luciana might fucking beef it this Thursday. I've been doing so well. She's only died twice and she got better both times. This is looking so amazing. I'll be lurking a while. Thank you for the stream. Yeah, thank you so much for the lurk. I very much appreciate it. Lurkers are always welcome. I'm liking this color so far. We'll see if that stays. But I did want to try a more muted color palette for this character, with some moments of more saturated to kind of emphasize, I guess, if that makes any sort of sense. For example, I don't know what color these wings are gonna be, y'all. We'll figure it out as we go. But yeah, Thursday's gonna be wild. We're in what is supposed to be the final round of combat with Tharizdun. Literally all I have to do is hold out for this last round. And then I don't know what's gonna happen afterwards, if I'm being totally honest with y'all. So we'll see how that goes. I do want the mask to be the same color as the armor, because that would make sense. Or would it make more sense for it to not be the same color? Would it be more interesting? Like, in my head, for this character, the mask would have come first, so it's entirely possible that they would have gotten the armor commissioned to be with the same, like, material. I'm also a sucker for things that are matchy-matchy, so we'll leave it like that for now. And then I think for... make a new layer. And then I think I want that a little bit more red for this leather underneath. Okay, I'm happy with that so far. And pretty much all of the accented leather is going to be the same color. I don't want to go too crazy on the different shades of brown, because that can just get really muddy really quickly. That wasn't intended to be a pun. Is that technically a pun? I don't know. Either way, we're going to stick to this brown. It's going to be the glove color. It's going to be all of those little strappy bits. And it's going to be the leather armor at their torso. Kind of like that. And then, you know what? It's also going to be... I might change. I feel like their feet are small. I might have to fix that. I can't tell if it's just the perspective of how it looks on my tablet or if they actually are too small. Maybe they have dainty feet. I don't know. I don't want it to be like the first thing you notice if they are a little bit on the small side. So I might play around with that too. And again, I'm not being super precise with my color dropping because this is just kind of mapping out to see if I even like these colors together, because I might not. Let's see. They could have, ooh, maybe, that's not really the color that I want. I wanted it a little bit more peachy toned, like that maybe. I wonder, bear with me here. If they had sort of like peachy wings with some, and I'm like jumping way ahead of myself here. Maybe something like that. I'm gonna leave it that way for now, because I don't hate that. I might end up changing my mind, not gonna lie. but I think I kind of like that. We'll keep it for now. We'll keep it for now. But now I need to figure out what color. I think I want to push this even more to there. Not me forgetting what layer things are on, because I don't name my layers. Hi, welcome. If you're new here, I don't name my layers. And I very rarely will. I'm sorry. Okay, I do want... these eyes to be maybe a little bit lighter? No, I think that brings too much attention to them. Maybe not quite that bright. Just a little bit lighter. Makes me think of a Frederick. I could see them being named Frederick. Yeah, I think that's good for differentiation without it being like, bam, in your face, these are eyeballs. Okay. I want... maybe just like a darker gray. Let's see. That might be too brown. It's kind of like an ashy brown. So we'll see how that looks when all is said and done. I want their, like, this tabard skirt bit, I want that to be a different color. Like, this can be this sort of like ash gray brown color, because this pattern I think I'm going to have be slightly lighter. So that'll give it some good depth. Their pants can be just a sort of generic dark. I don't want them too saturated though. It's too dark. Maybe like that. Yeah, I think that's fine. But I don't really know what color to do their tabard. Maybe like an orange? Because whatever color it's going to be here, it's going to come up here as well. Let's play around with some colors. I want to do orange because that makes the most sense to me, but I think I want it to be, it's not going to stay this orange. I kind of want it to be a bit of a gradient, because I'm a sucker for gradients. So like, maybe a bit more like that. I'm gonna blend. Is that boring? Check my Discord. Why? Hi, babe. Making me check things. Yes, please. Thank you. Oh, another something exciting. Literally like 10 minutes before I started streaming today, my new laptop came in, so that's fun. I mean, spending money isn't fun, but I wish I didn't need a new laptop. But my MacBook was really just starting to kick the bucket. And I kind of didn't
need to spend $300 on a new battery for it when I could just, you know, get a new laptop that wasn't a Mac, because literally all I use it for is typing and Discord. Okay, I kind of like that, but I'm kind of rethinking the wing color only a little bit. I think I need it to go... I think I want to add just a little bit of that orange back in there. Kind of mirror. Or like echo that. Okay, I think I like it a little bit more with that peachy color. I think I like that better. Their wings are just going to be not a solid color, because solid colors are boring and gradients are more fun. I do want to get a more solid sort of shape in here, and we can keep some of this like dusty rose color too. And throw some more of that cream in there. I kind of just want to make sure that I have the vibe right. That sounds like bullshit, but it's kind of it's kind of what it is. Okay. One more thing. I know it's really stereotypical, but I do kind of like the halo. Okay, and just to see if I actually like how this looks, I do want to add just like really on kind of like the edges here, just like a little bit, like just touches of this like bluish green, because I don't want it to compete too harshly with the coppery tones of the tabard, but also like this sort of teal color looks really nice with orangey coppery tones, so that's why I think it kind of works a little bit better. Just a little bit, ever so slightly, right there, a little bit there. I'm gonna save. Again. Okay. I think I'm actually pretty happy with these colors. And I think that's actually a pretty good place to stop for tonight, because I'm almost at the 2-hour mark. And I do still need to grab something to eat. But before I go, I'm going to toss some links in chat. If you don't already follow me on Twitter, you can do so with this link. I post a lot of art stuff. I post a lot of D&D stuff. I post a lot of dumb shit. And I post any of my stream updates on there as well if you're interested in following. You can also find me on Ko-fi. If you like what I do and you want to toss a coffee my way, it is never expected but always appreciated. If you sign up for my monthly tiers, you also get some sweet bennies, which includes commission priority when I do open my commissions. My commissions are currently closed, but you can find all of my information at this page, all of my pricing, what I do or don't do, and my current status. And if you have any questions, you can also get in touch with me through there. Or if you want a price quote ahead of time, I'm probably going to be opening commissions closer to probably the late January, early February timeframe. We'll see. But that's where you'd be able to find all of that information. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I super appreciate all of your time. And I will see you all on Wednesday. Have a good one, y'all. Bye.